What?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. We'll highlight all that. Don't you worry.
Just
But of
saying,
course,
you gotta remind people. You want to
Subscribe right now.
subscribe.
subscribe. Of course.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
You're SOL on points, but it's all right. Like,
Well, it's okay. That's why we have leads. You know, I was dominant for the most part in the fall swing, and as we approach the off season, we have some interesting topics to discuss.
yeah, the 2-point lead is quite crucial at this going stage. Technically, this is the last event of the fall, though. Even though it doesn't really count for anything.
Do not rain on my parade. Let me have my moment, and let me have my positivity. Okay, because I'm not very good at beer money. I think it's pretty obvious.
I mean, look, dude, I've been absolutely balls to the wall bad.
I mean, the best part about all this is that since we've started it, I'm actually leading the overall points total, which is pretty funny.
Are you?
Well, yeah, because I lost by 1. It was 41.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I am, don't mean to toot my own horn or anything, but
Brother, a lot can happen in 1 week.
Trust me, I'm aware. I'm really crossing my fingers that doesn't happen, because it would happen for you and in a good way and not for me.
Because it always happens for me. I'm the god at betting. I had a parlay today. Or
You're him.
I am. I had a parlay on Sunday. It was 7 legs, and the only leg that missed was an AJ Brown touchdown.
Oh, it sucks.
It was $5 to win 400. I was James Cook anytime touchdown, Mike Evans touchdown, and over on receiving yards that he cleared easily. Mixon rushing, Nico receiving, and Mixon anytime touchdown. And AJB screwed me over once again. Death taxes and the Philadelphia Eagles finding a way to break my heart.
Well, that's what happens when you're a Giants fan. But regardless, let's get into the show.
Also happens when you're a Jets fan, and that miserable loss to Seattle. We'll talk about that.
We're gonna get into it. Yep.
Oh, don't worry. We're gonna lean into all of our.
Just don't even. I'm gonna talk about it. Don't start, please.
We'll lean into all our New York sports vices very soon. But in lieu of talking about our New York sports, we have to talk about golf. Welcome in, everybody, to the Guide in the Hole podcast. That right there is called a callback. Ben Piero, Steve McAvoy here, live from the Underground, a part of the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network, streaming live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you can get a hold of these gorgeous faces. Again, this show, as the apex of the entire year comes to a close in the final week of the season, the Hero World Challenge, brings us to the Bahamas. Ben, it's been a very interesting season, to say the very least. It's been a very good time. It's been a very bad time. We've seen some really good in golf. We've seen some very bad in golf. But at the end of the day, we have managed to come out stronger than ever. It's been good.
Yeah, I don't really know. I didn't really know where you're going with that. I don't think you knew either. But it's been look, the fall season, the fall swing is the part that matters is officially behind us. Guys lost their cards. Guys kept their cards. Some heartbreaking finishes. I really feel for Wesley. I really, really was pulling for him to finish strong and make the cut and try to make a move. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. Joel Damon, with a final round 64, I believe, kept his card. Shout out to him. Congratulations. I mean, that's called grabbing yourself by the cojones and really stepping up to the plate and hitting the grand slam. That's how you do it. So, but yeah, let's get into it. We're kind of in our off season now, so the show's going to slow down a little bit just because we won't have as much stuff to talk about unless some stuff. Oh no, my screen was just going all crazy. And
what happened?
No, it was like kind of flashing a little bit.
Yeah. No, we're definitely in the closeout here, but of course, even though there is the wind down of on course performance, there's plenty of things happening off the course. And with that, we begin with our shout outs of the week. We're going to kind of go in reverse order as we usually do. and lead off with our shouts of the week at the top of the show, of course, presented by our good friends over at Acorn Hills. Changing clothing through conservation started out of a dorm room in Western Pennsylvania. Acorn Hills is dedicated to supporting environmental efforts, all by using plantable clothing tags, packaging, recycled materials. And for every dollar spent, the National Forest Foundation will plant a seedling to promote afforestation across our great land. And you can get in on all the action. Cyber Monday happening now, but through the end of the week, upwards of 50% off in their store. And you could use code GITH15 for an additional 15% off your next order at acornhillsco.com and look your best from the ground up. You know, last week was obviously Thanksgiving. Ben, I hope you had a really good Thanksgiving with your family. I hope you enjoyed your time as I'm assuming you're wrapping things up down in Florida and then coming back up for Christmas.
Yeah, so I was with my dad and his wife, and then I went and saw my aunt, her boyfriend, my sister, and one of my cousins after. I played golf with my dad. It was the first time I'd ever drank on a course, ever.
What'd you have?
They had a Modelo, which I'm not really a fan of Modelos, but whatever. It was 10:15. I'm just like playing with those two. I had to crack it open. I went to the range. I hit like 10 balls. Showed up before the tee was in the ground. I just cracked it open and birded the first 2 holes, and then it was pretty much like an uneventful round. I watched my dad probably top close to 40% of his shots, like just
oh my god.
And then I remember we played the back 9 first. We got to the 4th hole, the real 4th hole. And it was this par 5. I hit it just short of the green in 2, so I drove up to the green. And Shannon had hit hers in the water. And my dad has like one of those like ball retriever things that you stick in your bag.
Oh god!
They extend. And instead of taking his ball retriever, he ends up just like trying to reach into the water. I'm standing under the green, and I'm just looking at him. And he's on all fours, and like, literally in like doggy position, with his right hand stretched all the way out into the water, trying to catch this ball. I said, it's like you were like trying to like imitate like Lisa Ann or something on Pornhub. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
That's absolutely ridiculous. Oh my god! All right.
I wasn't on my knees. I was like, yes, you were.
Oh god, that's so bad. All right, let's get into those shout outs. I don't even know how to follow up on that. Because it was Thanksgiving, I want to also give thanks to those that have done some really cool things over the last week in golf. And we lead off with my personal favorite golfer, Bryson DeChambeau. Happy Thanksgiving to Bryson DeChambeau. After 16 days, finally makes a hole-in-one over his house. Not a single broken window. Now, do I think it's impressive? Kind of. But he is a pro golfer, so I do expect him to at least do that. I want to acknowledge, too, he got a lot of shit from a lot of people about how, he set up the perfect distance for whatever his pitching wedge was. I don't care, dude. The guy's literally golfing over his house. Like, it's a crapshoot. He doesn't even see the pin anyways. Stop giving him crap because he happened to put up a perfect yardage. Everyone's like, yeah, of course it's gonna land within 5 feet. Shut up. Good for Bryson DeChambeau.
No, I mean that was fantastic. I think now it started a whole trend where regular people are trying it. I guarantee you. I know where you're gonna go with this.
So sorry, finish. Yeah,
I'm not done.
I'm sorry. I thought it was appropriate to transition there.
Well, not yet. I'm speaking. Okay. So I thought it was one of the more entertaining things as the golf season starts to slow down. I would love to see more of that, kind of like trick shots from guys on tour. I think like Max Homa or like Joel Damon, given like their kind of status in the game and how well known they are on social media, I think those guys would be really good. You know, it would be really cool for them to try something similar. I don't know, maybe hit a pitch shot through like the window of their car or something and seeing how that would go. You know, just a little food for thought there.
Ben Puro shot over his house challenge.
My dad would literally he would probably throw me out so fast.
Or Ben Piero trick shot page potential.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at trick shots.
Yeah, well, let's try and get you on social.
I got a little bit of athleticism in me, but yeah, I think it would be really cool to see more guys do stuff like that. And I do think though it does speak volumes. Bryson was one of the biggest jokes on tour probably 2 or 3 years ago, and he has actually. He's really the only golf, with the exception of Anthony Kim, who was just non-existent in the public eye for over a decade. Bryson is the one guy who went to LIV and actually grew his brand at the same time. And I think it speaks volumes to what he's done. He's much more active on social media. He's much more active on YouTube. He has his own YouTube channel. He's partnered. He did something with Tom Brady. He did something with the Nelk guys. I mean, he's really done a fantastic job, and he has really turned around the public perception of who he is.
So yeah,
honestly, it's quite impressive. It really is.
I think it's an interesting talking point too, because with Bryson, obviously we gave him a lot of crap because of the whole Brooks Koepka situation, but also like I think maturity is a huge thing here, but also the move to LIV for him also just gave him a lot more freedom of expression. PGA Tour, what people don't really understand is they own all of the content, so you can't post videos from PGA Tour feeds without paying a royalty on it. So every shot Bryson DeChambeau has ever shot in a pro event on the PGA Tour, they own it, not him. So with LIV, they're like, hey, like you could shoot content during practice rounds. You could bring your people out there on the course while you play in tournament rounds. Go right ahead. Like we want you to be able to grow your brand. And he's always been a social guy. He's leaned into it more, and it's made him so much better. It's also really kind of given him a level head. He talked about it a while back. I think it might have been actually after he won the U.S. Open again. He said how the ability to just be himself and not have to worry about what everyone else thinks and perception and all this stuff. He was able to express himself on the golf course, but also away from it. And I feel like a lot of emotion got bottled up on course because he wanted to show who he truly was, and he wasn't able to do that. So I give a lot of credit to Bryson for being able to grow, but also it shows the positives of LIV, and we'll talk more about what LIV is potentially gearing up for on the other side of the show. But the idea that while you can talk all you want about how LIV is small fields, three rounds, no cuts, all this stuff, it has been a lot more open and willing to allow their players to express themselves more and do more funky things that the traditions of the PGA Tour do not cater to, which I think is really interesting. Funny you bring up, though, trends and other people doing it. Special shout out goes to JBell1982 on Instagram and his son. I have the video actually up. 6 days. Kid's like, I'm going to get a hole-in-one over my house. Watch it, Bryson. Here's the video.
A hole-in-one over my house. Since it's day 6, I got 6 shots. Bad day to be a turkey and bad day to be a pin.
Freaking love this kid. The energy is insane.
Oh, yeah. Oh, a little long.
He has a better swing than me.
Left, long.
I would never be able to do this, ever.
Oh, I love this. I love this. Go, go, go. Oh!
Dude, these kids are nasty work.
Oh, here we go. Oh, man. Another good one. Oh, carried it to the hole, but just...
Hi, happy Thanksgiving. Gob, 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 go.
We love homemade content.
Oh, I like this. I like this. Oh, do it. Do it. Oh, he made it. It's a Thanksgiving Day miracle.
Thanksgiving Day. Absolutely amazing. You truly can't make
not
this shit
the
up.
cutest content ever? That is so adorable.
This is what I love about homemade content, but also just like what Bryson has managed to do for the sport and has been able to get people into this to do this, I think it's an absolute home run. I know I would have scolded every single one of my shots into that garage, but like the fact that kids no older than 11, 12 years old, the fact that like he can express himself this way, and also shout out to his father for being willing to go on the roof, take the video, post it to his social, commit to it too, like because the profile is public. All 6 days are right there, every shot, homemade cuts and everything. I love it. So awesome stuff, amazing job. Beating Bryson by 10 days, pretty damn impressive too.
That's very impressive for sure. I will say I was close to predicting Bryson. I said the number of days. I said 14.
Yeah, you were basically right there. Ben, we roll to you for our next shout out.
Happy trails, Molly Marcoux. The LPGA Tour Commissioner announced today she'll be stepping down effective January 9th. She said, quote, "With the LPGA positioned for continued growth, it's time for me to have more time to cheer on our 3 amazing children as they live their dreams." She'll be replaced by the Tour's current Chief Legal Officer. Liz Moore, I believe on an interim basis. So I think Molly really did a very good job. It's not being the commissioner of that tour, and you and I have talked about this. Women do not make nearly as much golf when you look at just the playing aspect as men. They don't receive the same exposure. I'm not sure what the TV deals are, but you never really see them. I can't remember the last time I saw them playing on a Sunday on CBS or on Fox. And a lot of their stuff is aired by Golf Channel. And so I think what she's been able to do, I think she's done a fantastic job of being able to grow the game on the women's side, and really a job well done. Really, I hope that she has this time and enjoys the time being able to watch her 3 kids grow. I think that's fantastic. But I think we have to give her flowers, because that's not an easy position, just because of this, really just the fact that women's golf has never been followed nearly as much as men's golf. And so just the overall dollars because really one of the jobs of a commissioner is to figure out, how can I make my players more money? That's really what it boils down. Like, because then you keep your players happy. And then if you're able to do that, your time as a commissioner is deemed as a success. That's why, like, you want to see your salary cap in all these sports go up. That's the goal, because that means everyone's making more money. And so owners, players, GMs, coaches, they all end up making more. And I think we've seen, especially recently, women's golfers, we've started to see an increase. I believe in one of the more recent events, someone just won $4 million. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's incredible. And that's something that would not have happened 10 years ago. You really probably wouldn't have thought that could happen. And so congratulations, Molly, on a job well done. You have really done a fantastic job with what you were tasked to do. And you helped grow the game in a way that had not been done before. So congratulations.
We also don't talk enough about not only just women in sports, women in business in general. Obviously, a growing industry. Obviously, business used to be very male dominated. Now, the female workforce is getting larger and stronger as ever. We don't even know. A lot of people, I'm sure, don't even know the track record of Molly Marcoux. I can't even speak. Former administrator at Princeton for the last 6-7 years, from 2014 to 2021. Took over as commissioner of the LPGA. She's a former 2-sport athlete. She played ice hockey and soccer at Princeton. Went and worked at their administrative offices, and was the AD of Princeton for 7 years. Moved over to the LPGA Tour. Didn't have a lot of experience in working in golf at all, and has managed to crazy. You bring up purses. In 2021, when she joined the LPGA Tour, the total purses was $73.3 million. 2025, they just announced 131 million in total purses, a literal almost 100% increase from when she started, which is absolutely like insane to think how every year she's raised the bar 30% every single year to get to where they are now. The LPGA is in a tremendous spot. I hope they continue to grow. I hope Liz Moore and her eventual successor will find a way to continue this rally, because the LPGA, unlike every other women's sport, completely independently funded, find their own sponsors, manages everything themselves. The WNBA, owned by the NBA, there's obviously no women's football league. There's a women's baseball league apparently starting up that's going to be pro-funded by the MLB as well as private investment. But the LPGA has managed to do it for so long, solely on their own backs, and I think it's absolutely incredible. They've been able to do with the Aramco series, with getting more eyes in the realm of golf, and now even trying to get onto their own television networks. It's been absolutely huge. I want to give a shout out quick to our boy Jay Haas, the father of Bill Haas, also the brother, I believe, of Jerry Haas, the head coach at Wake Forest Golf, I believe. Celebrates his big birthday today. Longtime veteran of the tour, spent over 3 decades on the PGA Tour, around to 9 tour wins and 18 victories on the Champions Tour, including 3 majors in the 2006 and 08 PGA Championship and the 09 Players Championship. Happy birthday, Jay. Keep enjoying the champagne and keep on winning some more. You know, he's like, I think, like T14th for most wins on the Champions Tour, tied with Steve Stricker. Pretty damn cool of an accomplishment. PGA Tour, Champions Tour or not, pretty damn cool to have over 40 pro wins in your name.
No, it's very impressive. One of the most prominent families in the game of golf. And, you know, Bill obviously learned a lot from his dad there. And Bill being his son being the FedEx Cup champ, he had that just insane shot out of the water at East Lake back when the nines were flipped and 17 was that par 4 with the water left. And but shout out to you, Jay. You've been a fantastic ambassador to the game. You've contributed a lot to the game's success and the growth of golf. And so happy birthday, crack open a cold one, and just enjoy yourself. And lastly,
No Thanksgiving.
Shout out to the fucking Jets. You know, the Jets just cemented there. I know this is supposed to be for golf, but we will tie this into golf. Don't you worry. The Jets have just cemented their 9th straight losing season. Steve, the Jets' last winning season was in 2015. What was their record?
11-5.
10-6, and they missed the playoffs.
So with Mark Sanchez, right?
No, we had Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, shout out to the Jets, who not only lost to the quarterback that they drafted in 2013 in the second round, Geno Smith, but Aaron Rodgers threw a 92-yard interception, which resulted in a pick 6 to Leonard Williams, who was also drafted by the Jets in 2015 in the first round with the 6th overall pick or 5th overall pick. I can't remember. I think it was the 5th. And then it was 3rd and 10. Leonard Williams sacks Aaron Rodgers to make it 4th and 15. And then Aaron threw just a heave into the end zone after that, and no one came down with it. The Jets will have plenty of time to golf this offseason because once again, they start the offseason in January. Sell the team.
Aaron Rodgers might very well be playing golf for the rest of his life now because he very well could retire by year's end. We'll have to see how that one pans out. But the Jets will probably be in search of a quarterback starting next year. That's been our shout out to the week, brought to you by Acorn Hills. Shout out to the boys who are changing clothing through conservation. Ben, what do you have to say last?
They're in search of a GM, a coach, a quarterback, a left tackle, probably at this point. I don't know.
John sent me a text. He goes, Sauce, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall for Justin Herbert and a first-round pick. Who says no?
Yeah, for sure. Jim Harbaugh is going to give up his prized quarterback,
but get three awesome players. While you might not take that, I would most certainly take Jay Monahan's salary in 2023. The PGA Tour commissioner was released today via some SEC filings that we've uncovered, or that multiple sources have uncovered. Jay Monahan made a whopping $23 million in 2023. For reference, he made $18.4 million the year prior. So about $7 million, $6 million jump in pay year over year. For reference, I want to point out some of the big four sports commissioners and what they make. Rob Manfred makes $17.5 million a year, which, when you look at the MLB's revenue, they make $12 billion a year in revenue. So he makes about 15 thousandths of a percent of what the MLB makes. Adam Silver, for the $13 billion in revenue, makes $10 million a year, which is about 10 thousandths of a percent. Roger Goodell makes $64 million off of the NFL's $20 billion in revenue, equivalent of about 32 thousandths of a percent. Jay Monahan, for the tour's total $1.82 billion, makes just about 0.1% of the entire revenues of the PGA Tour. Doesn't sound like anything crazy, but when you line the numbers up, compared to, let's just say, even the NFL, 0.0032% compared to 0.0126% is a staggering amount of money, particularly when the NFL also makes $19 billion more in revenues on a yearly basis. This is not only, and I don't know if this speaks more to the fact that he's overpaid, but also just that commissioners are overpaid, because people don't like Roger Goodell, but he does a good job. People love Adam Silver. He deserves his money. People hate Rob Manfred, but even then, with the money that the leagues make, this is my quest now to limit salaries for commissioners and make them incentive based. Grow the sport, and you'll make more money. Or they can be like Elon Musk and make no dollars and just make it off of like stock options.
Jay, you're overpaid, and you're not very good at your job. Yes, has he done part of the job, which is make my players more money? Yeah. But if it wasn't for LIV, that wouldn't be happening at the rate that it is happening. But you're also making your players' lives a lot more difficult, because now you're limiting the number of spots on tour from 125 with full status, mind you, from 125 to 100. You're making $23 million, and you can't even run the show by yourself. You need players who have way too much involvement, basically pulling the strings behind the scenes and telling you what they want. And you're basically just succumbing to their desires and their wishes so that they won't leave. You are not worth what you're getting paid at all. And I think it's absolutely asinine to think you could be making you're making $23 million, Jay. Rob Manfred makes 17.5. Okay. You're making 5.5 more than the MLB commissioner. You're making 13 million more than the NBA commissioner. You're making, granted, you make less than the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell. You should be, because Roger Goodell, look, each commissioner has their flaws. Okay. And we can look into politics. Politics, unfortunately, has wedged its way into sports. And sometimes, and then you also have other issues in professional sports that we're not going to get into, that unfortunately arise. And commissioners have to make decisions. And sometimes those decisions end up kind of being not great ones. Okay. That being said, there is no reason for you to be making $23 million when you can't even run the tour without the players telling you what they think you should do. You are not strong enough for the job. You haven't done a good job. When I make it on tour, I'm going to be the most hated guy out there. he is going to hate me. Because at the end of the day, he should step down immediately because what he has done has been egregious. You're sitting there and you're trying to basically essentially make the PGA Tour a monopoly, which is what it was before. And now that you have this competition from LIV, you for some reason don't understand that you have the superior product still. Okay? You have the upper hand. You haven't gotten really anything done with the negotiations as far as I'm concerned. Because as far as that report from like roughly a month ago, where you had supposedly struck a deal, haven't heard anything about it since. You have Cantlay, Spieth, McIlroy basically spearheading your decision making, and how many years of college education do they have between them? Doesn't even have to 4 years between the three of them. You either need to step down, or you need to seriously change what you're doing. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're making decisions based on 6 or 7 guys. That's what Lucas Glover said, and he's 100% accurate. You're doing this so 6 or 7 guys don't leave, and you're screwing over the rest of the guys. So you're not worth $23 million. You're not. And I understand sometimes athletes can get overpaid. That's fine. It is what it is. But you are not worth $23 million a year because you don't do a good enough job.
So
I'm sorry, but I'm incensed. I think that that's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh no, I completely agree with you, and I don't think it's out of touch at all. I want to touch on a couple things. Jay Monahan makes more money than Rob Manfred, yet Rob Manfred brings in $10 billion more a year than Jay does. I understand it's the MLB; it's the third biggest sport in the world. If you look at the list of the largest sports in the world, it literally goes in order: the NFL, the NBA, the MLB. But even then, right, the NHL, the 5th largest organization in the world, their commissioner makes $10 million. The English Premier League in soccer, with over 300 teams involved in English Federation Soccer. Richard Masters, who's the chief executive, makes £1.8 million, which is maybe $2.5 million in US dollars. The PGA Tour, when you look at the money that comes in from every single major league in the world, and this has included the Bundesliga in Germany, it includes La Liga in Spain, it includes the MLS, the NWLS, and all of the women's teams, the WNBA, the Indian Premier League of cricket. The PGA Tour ranks behind almost every major soccer league, the Ligue 1, the Serie A in Italy and France, the Brazilian Soccer League. They also make less money than the Nippon Professional Baseball League in Japan. And Jay Monahan is making 10, 15, 20 times more than any of those people are. Don Garber, the commissioner of the MLS, is rumored to be making about $8 million a year in the MLS, the 10th largest organization in the world. And Jay Monahan is behind by a handful of spots. Jay Monahan has made more money than every single player on the PGA Tour not named Scottie Scheffler in on-course earnings this year. What makes a great CEO and a great leader someone that everyone likes, right? Why does everyone enjoy working for Jeff Bezos, or why does everyone enjoy working for Elon Musk? It's because they have no salary. They make money when their companies do well. I think Elon Musk has like a yearly salary of like $200K, and that's literally just to pay off his own personal bills, because he actually makes all this money in stock options at the end of the year. Like, he has no actual financial gatherings. Bezos makes, I believe, $0. He is entirely based off of Amazon stock. When the stock dips, he loses. When the stock jumps, he wins. That's why people enjoy leaders who can actually lead by example and say, I'm going to give more to my employees. I'm going to give more to the people who deserve the money. It's why Amazon drivers make $25 an hour, regardless of where you are, and why your gas is paid for, and why your phone is paid for. I don't see Jay Monahan doing anything. We were talking about it in the pre-tape before we even started. And again, we'll talk about it more later. There's a rumor that Tony Finau is going to LIV Golf. Makes total sense. Why wouldn't you want to go to LIV, particularly if there's going to be a restructuring? You're going to make your money. The LIV Golf Tour is paying for your caddy. It's paying for your hotels, paying for your flights, paying for everything you need to worry about once you get onto the LIV Tour. And you're telling me that for a third of my job needs, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to travel to Singapore and Saudi Arabia and England and France every single year instead of spending 7 weeks in fucking California. I would want to go to LIV in a heartbeat because they, maybe whether or not you could call it a cash grab and just trying to poach guys and give them a better opportunity, they're still doing more than Jay Monahan ever would. I was reading a stat, 87% of golfers on the PGA Tour don't make $1 million a year. Even more of that don't even make $500K a year. Because a lot of them are playing mini tours. A lot of them are like you and trying to fight for their right to even get onto the Corn Ferry Tour or fight through Q School or be like Wesley Bryan, who had to literally make a YouTube account to try and keep himself within a financial range to keep him from playing golf and allow him to continue his success. And even now, missed the cut and is going to Q School and is going to try and get back on to the KFT. Like this is the reality of golf. The top 1% doesn't exist in a level of sustainability in golf, and limiting tour cards and doing all this shit is only limiting the abilities of this tour to stay successful. And while guys jump to LIV because they have a better opportunity and it might open up some more spots, it still isn't enough. And Jay Monahan is hand over fist money gouging his people. When I'm telling you this right now, the PGA Tour tried to bring on strategic investment groups because they wanted more money for purses and they wanted more money for investment. Why not take $8 million of your salary, Jay, and put an extra 500, 600K into a pot for a tour event? You could fully fund probably 3 alternate field events too. Why not do that? No, it's because you're fucking selfish.
Well, look, at the end of the day, hey, Jay, no one's going to watch you.
Exactly.
Okay? No one's going to watch you. They're going to watch the superstars or the stars that you have left. Okay? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And this is why, and we talked about this before we started recording with KB, everyone was so up in arms when guys were going to LIV. And they were like, it's a money grab. And it's just like, well, like I said to someone, it's the perfect, it's like you're setting yourself up and your family up for generations of financial success.
Mm-hmm.
And that this person said to me, that's just an excuse. I said, no, it's the perfect excuse. And that's why, people have always, I've been back and forth on this. It's like when Andrew Luck signed his extension with the Colts, I was one of those people, I was like, why would you sign that extension? You have a nutty owner, a GM who doesn't surround you with the proper pieces, and an iffy head coach, and a really not a good roster. But at the end of the day, he wanted financial freedom. That's what those guys care about, because a lot of shit can happen in real life. You can get hurt, you can get sick, you can, I remember when Tiger's dad passed away. Tiger was not the same player for a little while. He wasn't. He was not playing up to his standard. And that stuff psychologically, that can get to you. And real life shit can happen. And so at the end of the day, I will never fault someone in sports for taking the money ever again. It's like those NBA players. It's like once they're off their rookie contract, they want the 4-year or 5-year max. It's like, do you really want to? Like, oh my gosh, like why would you want to do that? Your team is like a play-in team at best, and now you're making more money. It's like, no, you want financial freedom. Because at the end of the day, if you end up getting hurt, something happens, you're fine. Your kids are fine. Your wife is fine. Your grandkids are fine. And that's it. But to sit here and for Jay to sit there and be making $23 million when he hasn't done a good job, he really hasn't. And I cannot stress this enough. these purse sizes would not be increasing at the rate if it wasn't for LIV.
Yeah.
It would never happen.
Absolutely.
And so he's going to hate me. Honestly, I don't care because I don't mind speaking for 95% of people out there who actually have a brain. I mean, seriously, you cannot tell me with a straight face. If anyone thinks he's really doing a good job, check yourself, please. He's not good at his job, and he does not warrant making more than the commissioner of baseball, basketball, soccer, and the NHL. Yeah,
everything.
Doesn't matter. Not worth it at all. Please make it make sense.
You know, they say that heavy is the head that wears the crown. Well, you need to be able to take the criticism and build off of it. And this is the criticism. Everybody on social media was like, what? How much does he make? Like, it's staggering and it's crazy. And only time will tell if anything will ever actually change. But clearly there is a disassociation in the PGA Tour between what is right and what is just and what is the actually good for the consensus. And what's good for the consensus is Jay Monahan to not have a job. What's equally as good for the consensus is to be able to put us in a position to grow and achieve something great. It's the first time in forever. And Jay Monahan's lucky because honestly, no one would know his name otherwise. We say this every year almost now. For the last 2.5 years, last 3 years, since we've had this show going, golf's been a front page news. It's always been PGA versus LIV, new things coming out, purse sizes growing. It's actually like interesting news to talk about. It was a very humdrum sport pre-2021, pre-COVID. It was literally Tiger Woods wins every week, and we get to watch majors. Like, cool. One week a month. Now it's actually interesting if people know who Jay Monahan is, and like we said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Show it. Be a leader. Make yourself useful. We're going to take a short break. On the other side, we're going to go over the final event of the fall swing, the Hero World Challenge out in Albany, Bahamas, hosted by Tiger Woods himself. We'll chat Tiger, what he's up to while he's not in the field this week, a alleged Tony Finau move to LIVGolf, who also might be joining him, and can anybody dethrone Scotty Scheffler in his quest to repeat at the HWC? For Ben and Steve, we'll be right back from the underground. Don't go anywhere.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high-quality clothing from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
You know what actually might be the most staggering thing in all this too, with the whole Jay Monahan ordeal, is the fact that like they're shifting into this 100-man card status and everything else, and it's amazing to me how this is all happening, and yet there are some guys who, like you said, people want security, and Andrew Luck signed his contract because he wanted security. Guys like Saquon Barkley wanted more money and more years because you never know when the day's going to come. When Tiger Woods' dad died, obviously he wasn't the same player, like you said, and it showed mental and physical fatigue. Think about the guys like right now who, if the FedEx Fall ended today and we had this new framework that existed, Ricky Fowler will lose his tour card. 2 years ago, Ricky Fowler was going to lose his tour card anyways, and he got in under the skin of his teeth. And now, granted, he has one more year of job security because of his win last year at the Rocket Mortgage, but he'd be 101st. Jordan Spieth is the 90th or 80th ranked player. We're not going to see Jordan Spieth in a single elevated event this year. which is like mind-boggling to think about. But Jordan Spieth is one more bad season away from possibly losing his tour card because this is the year all of his exemptions are up because of his majors. It's crazy how this shift has not only hurt Jay Monahan's reputation, but has shot him and other guys in the boys club in the foot, and it's hilarious.
Well, because it's just like, don't you want as much job security as possible, whether you're an athlete or not?
Always, yeah, anybody wants it.
Isn't that the goal? Like that's part of the. I remember at one of the courses that we're members at back home, our GM left. The club that he had interviewed at for the same position offered him a contract, a 3-year contract. And he's like, how can I turn that down? I can't. If you're on tour, it's like, yeah, I would want as many full status cards available as possible. Because God forbid I get hurt, I get sick, I can't compete, something happens, I'm off my game. I have a little bit of cushion. I have a little bit of a security blanket. You know what? Forget it. We're gonna lower that by we're gonna take a sixth of those spots. No, sorry, a fifth of those spots away.
Insane.
It's so stupid. Like, who would do that? It doesn't make any sense.
It's staggering.
It really, and like, I find it so interesting. Like, especially someone like Jordan Spieth, who clearly pushed really hard for this. I got news for you, Jordan. Your best years in golf are behind you. They are. You have not really been relevant since your collapse at Augusta on number 12.
Literally.
You haven't. You have not. I don't know. If I were him, you're not the most physically dominant player. You rely on your putting, but your swing isn't that good. Your ball striking is iffy at times. Yeah, that's great. You rely on your putting, but when you're playing at the highest level, that there's so much more involved. And there are times where it's like, Jesus Christ, could this guy hit the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah, literally.
Like, it's serious. Like, yeah, and it's just like, you're really okay with just pissing away 25 tour cards like that? I wouldn't be at all, especially if you're coming off of a surgery as well.
Exactly.
It's a really stupid idea.
And also, we've seen it in the past. The PGA Tour has managed to botch medical exemptions and not properly associate those things well enough. And it has screwed over guys. It screwed over Harris English, who had to basically play the whole fall season last year just to try and maintain his card after he had surgery after the Tour Championship the year prior. They didn't give him the proper exemption that he needed and was like 300th in the FedEx Cup points. I was like, oh shit, I gotta get on the horse. He finally figured it out. But like, you were gonna screw over another guy who's been on tour for 10 years and has been grinding like everyone else. The Jordan Spieth thing I think is hilarious, and it's insane how he's been trying to figure out his swing now for like 3 years almost, and it still hasn't figured anything out. And we talk about like how like Corey Connors can do everything but putt, or how Denny McCarthy can't do anything but putt, or like Bob McIntyre has kind of like been like right in the middle, and when he gives it his all and he plays well, his putter is really one of the big things that gets him home. Jordan Spieth hasn't been able to do anything right, and it's led to a 60th or 68th place finish. And because he's too cool to play in the fall swing and get in for the Aon 10 to get into at least the Genesis and Pebble Beach, he instead said, I'm not even going to play. And he finished 90th or finished 80th. And Ricky Fowler finished 101st. And there are other guys.
Jordan did have surgery, so he has an out there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, if you're coming off a wrist surgery, and I don't know what wrist it was, if it was left or right. If it was left, that's terrifying.
Problem.
Yeah, that's a huge problem. I'm not, and I don't take solace in like saying that. Like, if you have surgery on your left wrist as a golfer, as a right-handed golfer, like that's serious. It's like tearing your rotator cuff as a quarterback. Like, that's terrible. It's like having, thoracic outlet syndrome as a pitcher. It's awful. Or thoracic, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah, but you got it.
I think at the end of the day, a little lesson for everyone out there. If always take job security. If you have the ability to have some job security, set yourself up financially for a better tomorrow, take it. If it's legal, if you can do it legally, just do it. That's why I would go back and forth with people regarding LIV. They're like, how could guys do this? They're really going to go play in that Saudi back league. I'm like, yeah, they are. And look how smart. Who would have ever thought this would ever come out of my mouth? Look how smart Dustin Johnson is. No one would have ever thought that, ever.
Dude,
but here we are.
Dude, Dustin Johnson, Pat Reed, Pat Perez, Taylor Gooch.
Bryson.
Taylor Gooch is laughing. Like, we laugh at him because he jumped ship and wanted back in. He made the right choice without even realizing it.
Yeah.
He made a dumb choice and fumbled himself into a great situation.
Absolutely.
It's tremendous. But you want to talk about fumbling yourself into a situation that was probably the best thing you could have ever done. Might not be for you and me, but I want to give a shout out to our people over at Paramount Plus, whose brand new show Dexter Original Sin is streaming December 13th on Paramount Plus, and with a Showtime plan, you can witness the beginnings of Dexter's darkness as they first come to light in Dexter Original Sin. Like I said, streaming on December 13th with Paramount Plus and with Showtime. When his bloodthirsty urges can't be ignored any longer, young Dexter Morgan must learn to channel his inner darkness as he transitions from student to avenging serial killer with the guidance of his father, Harry. And Paramount Plus has given us exclusive access to their trailer. Ben, let's check it out right here.
I am a killer, but I wasn't born this way. I was made by my history, by the people around me. They say it takes a village to raise a killer.
I can get my satisfaction.
First of all, killer song.
That song, Satisfaction. That was the most wild.
Bro,
I
Sarah
was
Michelle
trying not
Gellar,
to laugh because it's
Tina Milian. This is a star-studded cast, and I've never seen the original Dexter, but it's one of those shows that, I've been meaning to binge. I've been meaning to watch The Wire for a long time. I finally got into that. I've been meaning to watch Dexter. I've never seen Breaking Bad, which I need to watch. It's my biggest thing I need to do. But check out Paramount Plus December 13th. Dexter Original Sin, the origin story of the serial killer Dexter Morgan. Let's transition as we get out of this chatter. Talk about some good stuff. The Hero World Challenge, the final event of the fall season, comes into play this week as 20 of the top 40 golfers in the world duke it out down in Albany, Bahamas, hosted by Tiger Woods. We have some burning questions here, 3 things that are on the front of our mind, and we lead with Tiger Woods, who will not be playing this week. Mentioned it last week. He has officially disqualified himself from the event. Taking his place are 3 sponsor exemptions, including Nick Dunlap and Jason Day. Tiger will talk to the media tomorrow as we record on a Monday. He'll talk to the media on Tuesday at 2 p.m. It's his first time talking to the media actually since the Open Championship back in July. What do we expect from Tiger to say? Of course, coming off of surgery, did not have a very strong season whatsoever. Of course, played in a few majors, wasn't able to go very far with it. What do you expect Tiger to say? Do you think he'll stick to his? I'll try and play the majors this year. Might he not even play at all? What do you think? What do you expect from Tiger's interview?
I expect him to be optimistic because I feel like that's kind of where it's just been. But unfortunately, it's kind of where it ends, is just optimism and hope. Hope and optimism are funny things because it can make not great situations feel a little better. Every MLB fan has hope at the beginning of the year to some degree.
Like Mets fans?
I was going to take it a step further, like, oh, maybe the Pirates are going to make the playoffs, you know?
All Skeens, bring us to the promised land. No.
If Paul Skeens pitched every fucking day, yeah, he could do that. They actually might make the playoffs.
He can pitch, he can hit, he can play all 9 positions.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, oh, we signed our Aroldis Chapman to $10 million, and we still didn't finish over 500. Like,
So much for that, right?
But at the end of the day, I think that's really all it is at this point. I think he knows, and I think everyone knows that his best days are behind him. Do I believe he could win again? Yeah, because he has a little bit of I still believe there's like a little bit of magic there. But can his body hold up? I am incredibly skeptical. And at the end of the day, as far as his schedule for next year goes, Steve, I mean, what's he going to play? The 4 majors? Maybe. You know, other than that, I mean, geez, if I were him this summer, I said this last year, really, I guess maybe this year, but we had a similar conversation at some point about this. If you can, just have Charlie on the bag. Like, give Charlie that experience. I think that would be a lot of fun for Charlie. And I think, because I'm sure, look, I know Charlie has watched his dad play. But at the end of the day, I think that is probably the best experience you could give your son, is caddying for you at a major. How cool would that be to have for Charlie to caddy for his dad?
Yeah.
At Augusta, you know, and who knows, maybe that happens down the road at some point when it's Tiger's final Masters. Who knows? But at the end of the day, at most, I see him playing 6 events. That's it. And I think that even that is wishful thinking. I genuinely believe that. And I'll never say never because he's the GOAT. You know, I'm never going to say that I'm not going to say he's never going to win another tour event. Just because when you're the greatest of all time, there's always a little bit of magic left in there. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have a superpower. You know, he had numerous superpowers back in the day. His ability to drive the ball, he had passed virtually everyone, almost everyone. He was one of the best iron players of all time. His short game magic, his creativity around the greens was just stupid. And his ability to putt, read greens, speed control was incredible. And on top of that, when you have just probably the best golf mind ever, because you've been doing hypnosis since you were 5 years old, yeah, you're going to be hard to beat. But a lot of things that have happened personally, physically. He's had the yips. He's had the back surgeries. He's had the foot surgeries. He's had the ankle surgeries. He's had the knee surgeries. At the end of the day, I think it's all hope at this point, you know, and I think it'll be very interesting. I think it's great that he still wants to play. I think he should have retired after the 2019 Masters when he won. Hindsight's 2020. But at the end of the day, it's pretty much over. If he won again, I wouldn't be shocked, and I would love to see him win again. But I just think at this point now, we all know who he is. He's old. He is brittle. He doesn't compete enough to be sharp enough, and that's a big thing. You have to compete to stay sharp. You can't just baseball player. You can't just go out and miss 2 years and think, oh, take a little bit of BP, shag some fly balls during batting practice. I'll be good to go. Doesn't work that way. Golf is the same. Look at Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson missed all that time. And then he came back. Was not the same player. Golden State didn't even let him on the floor with 2 minutes to go.
It's there's a lot of things to unpack with Tiger, and I mean, let's be honest. In the interview, he is most certainly going to be asked about what he thinks about the rule changes. We already know that to be true. It's going to happen. He'll be asked about what he thinks, because again, he was in the room where it happened. to discuss why 100 tour cards is right. He'll be asked questions about what he thinks about the TGL, and he'll be asked questions about his health. And while I don't know what he's going to say about the first two, I can tell you this much, and I would love to be wrong. I don't think Tiger will ever win again, and I don't think Tiger will ever be even remotely close to the player that we want him to be. He had microdiscectomies in 2014. He had 2 more the following year. He had another one in 2017. His back was fused in 2017. Back fusion surgery, according to my PT friend back home, says that every single year post back fusion surgery, you really do feel worse and worse until you eventually get it fused again, because over time it deteriorates. It's like a car, right? Car, you use it after the first couple of years, battery dies out, you gotta get a new battery. 2 more years later, the alternator goes out. You have to get a new alternator. Your back fuses, it isn't like, all right, yeah, it's cool, it's fused, it's done forever. There's always a deterioration to your muscles no matter how old you get. And again, Tiger's not getting any younger. So the issue is, while he says that the reason for his surgery in September was because of back spasms that he felt at home, not in competition, fact of the matter is he played in 5 events. He withdrew from the Genesis because of illness. He barely got through his 4 rounds of the Masters, and he didn't record a single round in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, in 12 rounds of golf this year where he shot par or better. He did not record a single par or better round. Is it because of the drives? No, drives seem pretty good. It's because of the putting? Yeah, partially. It's because of the short game? Yeah. Like, he just doesn't look the same, and he looks lethargic, and he struggles to walk around. And he reminds me a lot of my grandpa. My grandpa, before he died, he used to go on dialysis and everything, and he used to pull the ports out of his arm because he felt too strong to admit that he was weak. And Tiger Woods not wanting to take a golf cart because he's too good for that, and he thinks that he can handle it himself walking. You saw the walk up 18 at Augusta, and again, Augusta is not an easy walk. He's walking with Neil Shipley, and Neil's not breaking a sweat. This guy is hosed. And yeah, middle of April in Georgia, it's hot. But this guy was probably so out of it that he was hallucinating on the golf course. He was completely out of his element. I don't think Tiger's ever going to be what we want him to be, and at that point, he should just let it go and work to be more of an ambassador of the game, possibly the next commissioner of the league if he wants it. Become somebody who just hosts events, builds golf courses. Like, it's one thing that we see guys like Sandy Lyle come back to play in the Masters. We see John Daly tee it up at the PGA after he smokes Bernard Langer. Like, we see guys come back. They have their swan song every year. They know they're not going to make the cut. The one year Bernard did make the cut was insane. But John Daly shows up to the golf course. He smokes 20 cigarettes and has 10 DCs. Goes out there and he shoots 7 over. He doesn't give a shit. It's sad almost because Tiger tries so hard and he just flops because he knows that while he has that Mamba mentality that Kobe had and he wants to play forever, you're not going to do it. And he'll play the Genesis, might not make it the whole way through. He'll certainly try and play the majors, but if Tiger Woods makes a cut again, I would be shocked. 2 years ago when he made the cut at Augusta, different story. That was a very different Tiger. That was a pre-next surgery. He was 2 years free of surgery. He was figuring himself out. His issues was more so his legs and being able to walk. Now it's the back again, and it's been the back since 2013. The back is what ruined his career. And it's the back that's getting him to a point where he might not even be on the Champions Tour because golf will not be enough for him when he turns 50. It's time to let it go.
I agree. I could never see him playing on the Champions Tour. I think
he's too good for it.
He's too good for that, and he knows that. And also, let's have an honest conversation. Do we really think he could handle playing on the Champions Tour? I know it's. No. I think it's. Is it 3 rounds? No, I think it's 4 still.
It's 4 rounds.
It's 4 rounds. They get a cart. They can get a cart.
Like an opera one, yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't know how competitive he would be because all those guys are physically in better not in better shape, better
But condition
Yes, they're in better
and reps too. They can
And
they can go out and play 4 rounds and not be dead.
I think at this point, I'm never going to say never just because it's Tiger.
Yeah.
As far as winning a major, never. No way.
But the Genesis, who knows?
I could look. I could see it. Do I think when Tiger is feeling okay, he hits the ball good enough? Okay, and I think you'd agree with that. He hits it good enough to be like, that guy looks like he could win on tour. Once he gets on and around the green, you are crossing your fingers, especially with the putter. He is not the putter he was back in his heyday.
Not at all.
And obviously, a lot of things have happened, not just physically, between the ears as well. Public embarrassment, some scandals.
Yeah.
It takes a toll. That will make you realize that you're fucking human real quick. Okay? And at the end of the day, Tiger has done a lot for the game. I think, though, at the end of the day, I could totally see him in a couple of years just kind of being like, yeah, I'm going to play the Masters every year, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend time with Charlie and Sam. I'm gonna help Charlie with his golf, and I'm gonna do whatever, because Sam, his daughter, I don't really think is into golf, and so whatever Sam wants to do, like that's what I would do. I would have already been doing that, like after one of the Masters, I'd be like, all right, kids, like Dad's home, like I'm done, whatever.
Yeah, like be a pundit, like go on Golf Channel. Go make a spot.
Show some face.
Yeah.
Do a clinic. Do some clinics. Travel around. Focus on creating golf courses, which he already has started doing. Seriously, take a load off, dude.
Don't kill yourself to try and do this. You
worked your ass off since you were a child for this. Like at some point, you especially when you've accomplished as much as he's accomplished. Just enjoy it and just take a load off and just be like, damn, like what I did was so cool, because what he's done has been absolutely remarkable.
Let me ask you this.
He is the most remarkable talent ever.
So 4 years ago, I took a college class about the history of football. Went to school in Connecticut, went to school right by Yale. Naturally, the story of football happened there. I'm talking to my teacher, and we get to a whole lesson about basically the Belichick and Brady dynasty, and he was like, Tom Brady will never leave football. And the day he retires will be the worst day of his life. And we're all like, why? And he goes, because Tom Brady is afraid he's afraid of being forgotten. His life for 25 plus years was football. And he was the best at it. And he could never let go of it. And when he eventually leaves football, he'll join a commentary team. He'll buy a team. Lo and behold, both things came true. My professor literally predicted the future. Is it too crazy to say that Tiger Woods is afraid of being forgotten 100%. And is afraid of being lost in history and can't bring himself to understanding that he will never be able to get back to where he wants to be? He'll never be able to replicate his ability. And one day, whether he goes to the Champions Tour or he goes to work for Golf Channel or he just builds courses or supports local charities and whatever, people are going to forget, Tiger Woods the has-been. I think it's a real thing. Guys go through that. I wouldn't be shocked.
No, I think I agree with you 100%. I agree with everything you're saying. I think, a lot of times when an athlete's career is over, because you identify as an athlete and you have that, because that competitive juice, like that adrenaline rush, the desire to win, the desire to compete and just kick everybody's ass, like that never leaves you. That's never going to leave him. But you see a lot of times these athletes, when they do retire, they fall into terrible habits because they miss competing, they miss the game, and they've devoted so much time and energy and money and resources to competition, whatever it was. It's like they don't really know what to do with themselves, and you almost see you end up seeing them like lose their identity. That's why, like, when I had friends and, back when I was in school who played baseball or soccer or football, when it was over, like, it was a terrible fucking feeling.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrible because, like, I remember when I was done playing in college, like, the way it ended, I was fucking depressed because I was like, shit, like, it's over.
Yeah.
I knew for me, I had something to look forward to, which is turning pro because I was good enough. Most guys aren't. Most girls aren't good enough to turn pro. Most guys and girls are not good enough. They're not. It's a very small percentage that you can that you're like deemed like, yeah, like you're worth it. You can go and try to play at the next level, the highest level. And like that's why you see all these guys. It's like they like Kobe. I remember like Kobe Bryant. It was the same thing. Kobe didn't have anything else to prove.
Yeah.
Kobe ruptured his Achilles tendon. The Lakers were a fucking 7 seed or something. Like they barely made it into the playoffs. He had nothing else to prove. He won 5 championships. He cemented himself as basically like Michael Jordan reincarnated, just maybe not quite as good. And like that's, he had nothing to prove, but he wanted to come back because it's the competitive juice. It's the competitive edge. And I always tell people, I told someone this about a month ago. If I wasn't a golfer, like if I like hadn't turned pro, I would still be competing in something to this day. Like I would be running marathons, or I would be doing Ironman challenges, or I would be like doing CrossFit games. I'd be doing like crazy fucking shit. Just because when you're an athlete and when you're a competitor, you want that feeling, like that adrenaline rush and that excitement when the gun goes off, like, yeah, like it's time to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's there, like for us, like it's kind of what makes us like kind of crazy, like as a professional athlete, it makes you crazy. People normal think like that's crazy. You want to like do that, but like at your mind through that, like, yeah, we do because it's fun for us.
And like Jordan came back. Jordan hated the idea of retirement. Brett Favre came back. Yeah, came back twice. Like Brett Favre came back twice. Like people, like, come on. We're athletes. We want to be able to get back in the ring. We want to be able to get back on the field and do our thing. And Tiger Woods just doesn't want to let go of it. He doesn't want to move on to the next chapter. But the one thing I will say though is that Kobe, when it was time to leave, like left. When the time comes for LeBron to leave, he'll leave. When the time comes for others to go, it shows the difference between the people who can never let it go and the people who know my time is up.
Well, and you know what the thing is, like the thing that it was interesting, like most professional athletes, they don't know when to stop.
Yeah.
So it's like with Tiger, he should have stopped 5 years ago. With Kobe, he should have stopped after the Achilles, or maybe a season after the Achilles. But he kept going. Jordan, same thing. Most athletes, you have to like tear the jersey off and be like, you're not fucking playing again. Like Brett Favre, he was not very good his last year in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Look at Aaron Rodgers. Look how he's going out. And
the legs are gone.
He's done. And it's just like, damn, like you look at all these guys, it's like that's how they go out. Tom Brady was the only one where it was just like, yeah, it wasn't pretty that last year, but he still had it.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shit going on, it sounds like, behind the scenes personally that really affected him. But at the end of the day, like he's probably the one guy where it was just like, yeah, he retired when he should have. Most athletes do not have that self-awareness.
Think about it. Like the guys who did it right. Peyton Manning left a Super Bowl champion.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees left top of his game. Even Nick Saban, right? Nick Saban left after a bad year. They finished for the first time outside of the top 10 since he got there. Like, guys just don't, coaches and players alike just don't know when to tear the jersey off, and they don't know when to say, I'm done. But Peyton did it right. Even like Eli Manning, right? Not the great player of the caliber, but had 2 really bad final years.
Mm-hmm.
Guys just don't know when to say no. Even Gronk, same story.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many of them, and it's so sad. We need to get into more topics. We're already pretty deep into things. Tony Finau out of the field this week at the Hero World Challenge due to alleged rumors of joining LIVGolf. Now, Ben, I haven't told you anything about this. This is all raw stuff coming out from the last 6 hours. Allegedly, Tony Finau, there's an offer on the table for him to go to LIV. There's also an offer for his own franchise, just very similar to what Phil has, to what DJ has, to what John Rahm's got. There's also rumors that if he does not choose his own franchise, at least in year 1, and still the option in year 2, but the Range Goats and Bubba Watson's former team have made some moves and traded away Tomas Peters to the 4 Aces in order to open up a roster spot. Bubba is out of LIVGolf, is currently going through promotions. They don't have a captain. Might very well see someone take over the role. Ex-nay Tony Finau. Luke Elvey put a tweet out, and he said, I'm not going to name drop anything, but Luke Elvey, of course, pundit for Golf Channel, said there will be names that will absolutely crush fans. Initial thought immediately to me is Victor Hovland, who's been linked there forever. Hideki Matsuyama, probably the greatest Japanese golfer of all time, very well can go. He's been linked a little bit. Tony is obviously a fan favorite. Also was a report from Matt Vincenzi of Sports Illustrated that the Rippers Golf Club, Matt Jones is no longer on the roster. He has mutually parted ways. A lot of Australian golfers want to team up with Cam Smith. There's been rumors, 2 big Australian names, both very much reclamations over the last few years. Adam Scott is linked. Jason Day is linked. Lots of names being thrown around in the possible swings of LIVGolf. Tony's also not even committed to playing in the Century, which, by the way, is a signature event. So, and you're only eligible for 1 miss a year. You wouldn't want to burn that on the first event. Tony might move. Do you think anybody else might? Does any of these reports to you hold weight? Are you surprised by any of this now that the year is up?
No. Last year it was Rahm. That was the big one. And most of their money went towards Rahm, understandably so.
Now they're going to sprinkle it a little bit. They're going to get some the Finau, get some the Day.
They should. I mean, they ended up getting rid of some guys who weren't really cutting it on LIV. I mean, Bubba played awful this year. I just find it so hilarious and ironic that the PGA Tour could go through all of this just to lose more stars. I just find it so hysterical. I'll throw a dark horse out there for you. Why not? How about this? You and me are going to pick a name, okay? And we'll make this towards our beer money. So so you pick a guy, I pick a guy, and if they go to LIV, then all right. I am going to pick, and basically, if it hits, then we get a point. I'm gonna go.
Give me 3 names. We'll do 3 names each.
Ooh, 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second then.
Before you pick this, it's crazy too, because the movement now with this whole framework thing, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of big names jump ship just because they know that if there is going to be a unification of the PIF and the PGA Tour, while LIVGolf will be different, at the very least they'll be able to cash in on all the benefits and perks of being on LIVGolf. Just crazy how all this is now coming to a head at this very moment. But again, this happened also with Cam Smith. He played his year out and then jumped ship. Same thing with Joaquin Neiman and Mito Pereira. So I'm not surprised at all by any of this movement.
All right.
Or alleged movement.
Allegedly. All right. So my picks. You want to go first, and I go, then I go, and then you go, then I go, then you go, then I go.
I'd be happy to go first. I am going to ride with.
And our picks can overlap, just FYI. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. This will be like draft style. I think a really compelling name that at this point has. We mentioned him earlier in the show. He doesn't have a strict affiliation to the PGA Tour. Obviously, he's in the boys' club and he enjoys his time here. But if he does see an avenue where he's not getting any better, I think Jordan Spieth actually might very well do it. Just cash in, get your money.
That's a tough one. Okay, I'm going with Victor Hovland.
So that was the next obvious pick. He's obviously been linked. A jump to LIVGolf. Certainly possible for a lot of these names.
I know, right? It's fucking wild.
I think a crazy one, because I know and I give him a lot of shit, and I know that he's not as good as other players on the PGA Tour within that like top 30 community. Wyndham Clark.
That's a wild one. All right, I'll give you one that might be a little more crazy. I don't even think you were thinking about this guy. He splits time in the U.S. and in Europe. I'm going to go with Robert McIntyre.
Yeah, all right. So you know what's funny? I was actually thinking about Nikolai Højgaard in this regard. Another. My internet went.
Yeah, you said Nikolai Højgaard, and that was it.
Yeah, so I was thinking like Højgaard there. Also splits time, but like has a prosperous potential on the PGA Tour. Like probably McIntyre is always going to be like the 50th ranked player in the world. Like, he's never really going to be a top player. But I think it's interesting the guys who do split time. I think with that being said, it's been a long time for him. This might be a hot take, like an outside shot. You know what? I'm not going to take him. I'm going to go with Cameron Young.
Wow. So it doesn't even end his PGA Tour career with a win.
No.
I
was actually between him and Tommy Fleetwood. Like the fact that neither one of them have been able to get a win. Yeah, you make some money, but you can not only get a bag and also possibly win in a 40-man field. Just go to LIV. That would be insane, actually. If either one of those two went, that would be fucking nuts.
I'm going to go with someone who might have a little bit of disgust with the PGA Tour for a little suspension that they had. Bennett.
Ooh, that would be an interesting one, too. And again, look, there's a lot of names that I think fit here. I think, like, Taylor Pendrith, as somebody who's like an under the rated but like good player, could go for some money. I do think there is a lot of brevity to the whole Adam Scott, Jason Day rumor. Do think that's like more than possible. The guys who I'll tell you right now who will not go, Scotty won't go, Morikawa won't go. I don't think Russell Henley is like culturally relevant enough to go. Cantlay is too headstrong. He won't jump. Oberg's been here too short. I think Sam Burns might do it, but Sam Burns is still good enough to win events week in and week out. Corey Connors, maybe. I don't know. He's the best Canadian golfer ever. You might be kind of biting fingernails at that point. And Tom Kim won't go. Tom Kim is definitely like a loyalist. He would like fight to the death for you. Outside name though that I think is actually really interesting to jump ship. The next wave of the old folks home, Lucas Glover. Getting fed up with all this shit on the PGA Tour.
Wait, so that's not one of your picks, though, is it?
No. I've already given you my three. I'm just saying I think it would be really interesting, like a guy joining the old folks home who's on the back legs of his career and is pissed off with the changes happening on tour. Why wouldn't Lucas Glover want to go? Make your bag.
It's very true.
give to your children and future grandchildren. It totally makes sense. All right, so I've got I have Spieth, Clark, and Young.
Yeah.
3 American hombres. You've got On,
Hovland, and McIntyre.
Hovland, and McIntyre. All right, I'll keep these written down, and we'll figure it out. Final thing before we get into our beer money, we're already like an hour 25 into the show. We got to wrap things up relatively quick. Loaded field this week, of course. 20 of the top 40 players in the world all teeing it up this week. Xander Schauffele staying home. Max Homa staying home. Hideki staying home. But we are going to get our first look at Scotty Scheffler this year. Of course, the incumbent champion of this event. Similarly, did not play very much last year leading up to this event. So it isn't like the rust is there. But do you think anybody can dethrone Scotty this week, or is it going to be Scotty's to run away as he comes out hot or looking to come out hot for his 2025 prep?
Well, for the sake of betting odds, because he's like minus 230 to win, I hope so. But at the end of I do think it is possible. Look, he hasn't played a lot. Obviously, he played great this past year. Once again, Scotty doing what Scotty does. But at the end of the year, a lot of rust for sure. That's definitely a possibility. And look, when it's such a limited field, and really these are some of the better players on tour for the most part, I find it so funny how like Rory just like won't play this event. I just, dude,
He's too cool for it.
I guess he is too cool. But regardless, I think that there are enough good names like a Cantlay or even, I mean, let me just pull up the field. Whether it's a Justin Thomas, a Cantlay, an Oberg, Sam Burns, Cameron Young, even. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm just saying, maybe this could be the opportunity for him to like get the monkey off his back. It wouldn't count officially, but give him that winning feeling. I'm not saying that like to make fun of the guy. I'm just being honest.
Mickey Mouse win.
Shut up.
Even worse than the Zurich, and you know it.
Yeah, but at least this one wouldn't count though towards anything.
That is true. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be like an official win, but it would just be like, it's like winning a preseason game. I feel pretty good about yourself, Like, we're so deep into this. Let's just get into beer money. I'm excited.
Yeah. This episode of Get in the Hole is brought to you by our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the industry. Founded on Long Island and rep by some of the biggest personalities in sports, including Chris Hogan, Kyle Harrison, John Jay, and Paige Spiranek, Tomahawk Shades is guaranteed to keep you looking fresh from the first hole to the 18th green and, of course, the 19th hole as well. Head to TomahawkShades.com or download the Tomahawk Shades app on the App Store or Google Play Store and browse our selection of sunglasses, blue light plus glasses, and prescription lenses, and be sure to use code USP for 25% off your next order at TomahawkShades.com. Well, let's do it. We're both dead on the inside. Dude, I'm planning for a wedding in 5 days. I want to drown. It's time for beer money. Brought to you by our boys over at Kenwood Beer. Saquon Barkley is just lighting up. Actually, he's on pace to break Ed Dickerson's rushing record, which is absolutely insane. And you can watch Saquon Barkley do exactly that, as he also brings my fantasy team to a title while drinking some awesome Kenwood beer, who's smooth, clean, and bright with a taste to boot. Kenny, he's the routine choice of folks who want a balanced, flavorful, no-frills beer that's right for any occasion. Only 120 calories, 8 grams of carbs. Some call it the best beer they've ever had. You just say you can't beat the original. Head to KenwoodBeer.com and use the Kenny tracker to find where you can get your hands on some ice-cold, refreshing Kenwood beer from your favorite liquor stores or packies in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, or at the Wells Fargo Center and beyond as the middling 76ers try and fight their way for the very back of the Eastern Conference. Must be 21 years or older to do so, and of course, please drink responsibly. We lead off with a bit of a different play here. Of course, 20 players, no cut, which means that we got to get a little bit funky with our picks. We're starting with the props. Your leader after round one, your clubhouse lead after 18 holes will be
Sam Bermuda Burns, baby.
I love that pick. I'm
Right?
very high on Burns this week. Of course, they're playing in the Bahamas. It's very close to Bermuda. You know what greens they're playing on?
Bermuda.
Bermuda.
That's
I'm gonna go. I'm
really
gonna
wide.
go a little different. I think he's gonna start hot and fizzle out. Largely because he's actually a first-time father as of a couple months ago, and it's kind of been overshadowed. We haven't talked about him much, but Justin Thomas, first-time father, has a lot of sleepless nights. I think a first-round leader is interesting, but he kind of fizzles out and loses his pace from there. So I'll take JT as my leader after round one. Your winning margin, we've had winning margins at this event from 10, which is Jordan Spieth, which is the record, to 5 to 1 to 2 or 3. What's going to be the winning margin exactly this week?
There's going to be a playoff.
It's a good pick. That's interesting. I'm going to go with a 2.
It's okay. I did that, right?
Yeah. That's so really it's one stroke, but with the caveat of a playoff.
Well, because a playoff is just a playoff. So like,
True. Yeah.
So like, hypothetically, like, I hit one down the middle, you hit one out of bounds, and then I hit it next to the pin, and I just go ahead and tap it in. You could just concede the hole. It's like I make a 3, and they put like an X down for you. And realistically, they'd put you down for like one more than whatever I made. I think that's how it would work in like a match play scenario. So like a playoff is just, in my mind, like after 72 holes, what's it going to be at? So I just said playoff.
All right. I'll take a 2-stroke deficit. It's happened in 2 of the last 4 years, so I got a 50-50 shot here of possibly nailing that. We're going to do 2 top 5 picks. Thankfully, ours are different, so we'll be able to base off of that. Your first pick, I'll let you go.
I agree with you with the baby thing with Justin Thomas, but given that it's such a small field, and I feel like this is a good course. This is a good course for him, especially when you haven't been playing a lot. It is wide open. Okay, so that's why I have him finishing top 5.
Yeah, it's the most resort course that you're going to get. It's funny because like not a lot of guys have played this event, despite the field being as stacked as it is. Just guys will play only ever so often. Like Scotty's only got one time here. Wyndham was only played here once. So when I was looking at the metrics to figure out who I think is going to play well here, I looked at guys who played well on resort-style courses in the past, and the 2 that come to mind are down in the DR, the Punta Cana, and Port Royal during the fall series. And it just so happens that there are 2 FedEx Fall or secondary tier event alumni who have both played very well at golf courses down in Mayakoba, the Bahamas, Port Royal. Think about it, Victor Hovland won the Puerto Rico. He won the Mayakoba twice, and I believe he finished top 5 every year he played at Port Royal. So, and has 2 wins here at the Hero. So has experience. I'm going to go with Sam Burns as my first top 5 finish. Has never finished worse than top 10 at an event down in the Caribbean. Crazy.
That's pretty crazy. I'm going to go with a little more of a sleeper pick. I guess you can call him a sleeper pick. Russell Henley.
Russell Henley's like a really good golfer. Like people again, like he isn't culturally relevant.
Since 2012, Steve. Yeah, he's a really good golfer. Yeah. 12 years, dozen years. He's a good golfer. Yeah.
What I'm saying is like he's probably the most underrated top 25 golfer out there because like you never really hear from him. He's very quiet. He's very he goes on business trips. He just goes and plays.
That's very true.
Like again, not culturally relevant to the status of the PGA Tour, but like would he go to live? It'd be the most underrated live signing ever, and he'd be so freaking good. My second, I'm gonna go with somebody else who's had a lot of really good success down in the Caribbean. Sahith Theegala. One of the very few guys in this field who is not coming in with a previous injury over the last 3 months, and has actually played in a fall event. He finished top 10 at the Pro Tour, so I'm really in on Theegala for a top 5 here as he gets ready for a dominant year. This is going to be Sahith Theegala's year to go off, make a Ryder Cup, and we're going to see him at Bethpage. Let's get into our winner. One winner. Who would you take?
Strictly for odds purposes, because Scheffler is minus 280. I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah. the margin between Scottie Scheffler and everyone else is so immense. And even with him not playing for 2.5, 3 months, it's still Scottie's to lose. And the only way that happens is if the putter lets him down, because we know he's going to hit it. We know he's going to make the fairway because it's fucking a mile long. And we know he can beat the crap out of this course with how short it actually plays. Multiple drivable par fours, really short par threes. His proximity is tremendous. There's no way Scottie doesn't win this event. I just like it. Again, the line is so long. Oberg had back surgery. JT's a new dad. Patrick
knee surgery.
I apologize. I'm thinking of Tiger still. Had knee surgery. He's still recovering from that. I think Oberg shot like a 5 over his first round at the RSM, so clearly is still in recovery mode. JT's a new dad. Cantlay showed some heart at the President's Cup. That's about it. The rust doesn't matter for Scottie Scheffler. He won it. He did the same thing last year. He'll do it again this year. Final thoughts for you hit the road, Benny?
Nothing. I'm exhausted. You have your wedding on Sunday.
Benjamin, the next time you hear from me, or the next time you see me on a show, I will be wearing a ring and I'll be a married man. Crazy.
I'm very, very excited for you. I'm going to be calling you on your wedding day. Do not pick up.
Yeah, don't call me between the hours of 1 p.m. and 5.
Well, I'm going to be in Cincinnati, so I'm going to
be drunk.
Yes. So
all right, I will be sure to not answer you then.
No, because I do this thing where I like to call my friends. If they're getting married, I like to call my friend and then leave them a voicemail so they can always listen to what I say. It's actually it's a mixture. Don't fucking cry, okay? Could you not, please?
So cute.
Shut up, okay? we should actually crop this.
I'm fucking crying, bro. What am I, a bitch? Come on, dude.
No, now we can't crop it, but I like to do. There's a mix of sincerity and genuine happiness with a little bit of my immature sense of humor.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
it's funny. I thought about doing an audio log, getting an old timey phone, you can leave messages. We're gonna put you in the audio log.
Oh god.
You're gonna be immortalized, and we're gonna play it on the show on Monday.
Well, okay, just so you know, I will not be here next week. So
we have off next week because
I was just want to make sure.
You're gonna be away. I have a honeymoon, and no one's gonna care about the result of this event.
Where are you going for your honeymoon?
I'm doing a mini moon in. We're doing a 4-day cruise. We leave out of Tampa to Cozumel, Mexico, and then the real honeymoon is going to be in May. We're going to go to Ireland. That'll be just because she can't get off for 3 months at a time because of the holidays. Nursing schedules get all screwed up, so we have to wait a little bit.
Sweet, sounds good.
So
I will be calling you on Sunday morning.
Perfect. Sunday morning, rain is falling. It's going to be a really nice day. It's going to be 43 degrees. It's not going to be super cold. Also not going to be insanely windy. So looking forward to it. With that being said, folks, that's been episode 183 of the Get in the Hole podcast. Sure to follow, subscribe, and give us some shouts on social media at Get in the Hole Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. Follow us, subscribe, and leave a comment on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just type in Get in the Hole and you'll be able to find us. And of course, subscribe to the podcast and all of Underground Sports Philadelphia on YouTube at Underground Sports PHI and get all the latest up-to-date news on all of our shows across from Formula One to lacrosse and golf and beyond. For Ben Piro, I'm Steve McAvoy. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the Hero World Challenge as we finally get a week off to just enjoy our time away and hopefully not watch more really bad New York football. Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!